Our next speaker is Dr. Joseph McNamara, MD. Dr. Joseph McNamara was born and raised in Ireland. After graduating with honours from the prestigious medical school in Ireland, he practiced medicine for a number of years in the Dublin area, before moving to the United States, drawn there by what he felt was the most open-minded and exciting culture in the world. In the beautiful Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, he practiced traditional medicine for over 25 years as an emergency care and general practitioner doctor in family care. After many years of this service, he felt deeply called and inspired to utilize more expansive, more holistic methods of integral healing. He was inspired to offer new healing methods, ones that correlate more harmonically with his very deep spiritual calling and his innate alternative healing knowledge. He followed his guidance, retired from the restrictions of traditional medicine, and opened a private clinic to practice a more holistic, more complete healing modality, which also allows him the freedom to focus time on speaking, lectures, metaphysical research, spirituality development and writing. He will be a featured speaker at the November 2015 Earthkeeper Gathering in Arkansas, and he will speak on his healing practice and cutting-edge holistic work. He currently travels, giving presentations to forward-thinking organizations. In 2015, he opened a clinic utilizing his new, cutting-edge application of tachyon healing technology. He named his innovative clinic, Cara Ananam, which is Gaelic for Friend of the Soul. Dr. McNamara's Friend of the Soul Medical Counseling Center is in Virginia. Along with operating his healing center, and in addition to his healing practice, Dr. McNamara is working on several research projects, offers lectures, writes articles and is focusing on a new book. He lovingly shares his learnings, wisdom and theories in writings, practice and presentations, which combine rigorous science with spiritual belief and holistic healing. Enjoy the following fascinating presentation from Dr. McNamara. Enjoy, and Namaste.
And now, a big enthusiastic Earthkeeper welcome to our next featured speaker, Dr. Joe McNamara.
Is that better? Okay, very good, very good. Okay.
Thank you.
No, okay. Is that better? Okay, very good, very good. Okay. But yeah, I do speak very gently, so if I'm not projecting well enough, please raise your hand. So here we go. All right. This is only a 30-minute talk, so I'm going to have to be brief. Okay. I practice a style of medicine that's based on futuristic technology, and it's called Tachyon technology. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. Can I just see a show of hands as to who have heard? Actually, okay, about a quarter of people. That's good. I'm going to assume, though, that you don't know and have never heard of tachyons before. Okay, and I entitled this The Particle of the Golden Age, because as in most concepts, these are really, there's nothing new under the sun. These have been around for a long time. We lived in the Golden Age in Atlantis. We are about to embark on that project again. Okay, the word tachyon is relatively new, and it's a made-up word. Somebody coined it in the 60s. It's a combination of tachy, which is the Greek for rapid or fast. You've heard of tachycardia and a tachometer. And on is just a generic name for a particle. So electron, proton, neutron. So these are tachyons. They're subatomic particles that travel faster than light. Now, I know you've read in all of your books that this is impossible, but in fact, it is possible. Einstein proposed this as a theory, and he developed a set of physics based on that. They are particles that infuse physical matter with spiritual light. Now, the process of tachyonization is a technological process that impregnates the physical matter with increased quantity of tachyons, and thus it permanently changes the quantum properties of atomic nuclei which compose that matter. So it affects the subatomic particles at the quark, the meson, the boson level. And there's, at the moment, a great search for the boson, the Higgs boson particle. And I believe that that's probably a tachyon. Because once this is achieved, basically anything is possible. Now, this is a visualization of an interaction of a tachyon particle with the three-dimensional particle. Since a tachyon moves faster than the speed of light, we cannot see it approaching. After a tachyon has passed nearby, we would be able to see two images of it appearing and departing in opposite directions. Because it says the black line there is the shock wave of the Cherenkov radiation, shown in only one moment of time. It's very difficult to conceive of this because you're talking about a paradoxical reaction. Normally, when two particles interact, there's a predictable response. This is very unpredictable. Okay, tachyon particles vibrate at a subatomic level, as I said before. And what this means is that physical, chemical composition is not altered by the tachyons. The vibration is more subtle, although actually very, very tangible by the client. Tachyons move faster than light and therefore seem to decrease the entropy of physical matter. Now, entropy is a fact of physical science. Entropy means that everything goes to the lowest energy level possible. So if you hold something in your hand and drop it, it will go to the lowest energy level possible, which is the ground. And if there's a hole there, it will keep going until it reaches the very lowest level possible. That's how electrons create electricity. They're excited, and they go back to the lowest energy level possible to produce electromagnetic radiation. The intriguing thing about tachyons is that they can actually decrease entropy. In this 3D experience that we have, time is experienced in a unidirectional vector, and that is from past to present to future. So, for example, a baby is born. It's full of tachyons because they come from the spiritual realms. And we see and we love babies, and that's why we admire them, and that's why we love to look at them, because we were hypnotically drawn to the light. But over time, as we get older, we reach about maybe 30 years of age when our tachyon level begins to reduce, and therefore entropy finally overcomes the light, the spiritual light, and we slowly start to decay. And even if we try the best diet, the best exercise, the best mental gymnastics we can, it is irreversible. It points in one direction. However, tachyons hold out the potential to reverse entropy. And it's called syntropy. It's the opposite. Just as when an egg is fertilized by the sperm and grows intrautero, the organism increases its level of complexity. And with that complexity, it keeps on increasing. So that even when the baby is born, it's still not mature. It continues that maturity until about 20 years of age. And then the organism is complete. It's fully grown, it's adult. So tachyons may reverse the aging process and strengthen the immune system. From my experience with it, this is a commonplace experience, in fact. It also harmonizes the chaotic electromagnetic fields in the human living environment. Tibbe showed earlier how electromagnetic smog is creating a real issue for our health. It's nice having all these smart pads and smartphones, smart meters, but they do come at a price, a very serious price. Since tachyons influence our higher energy bodies as well as the physical, they can accelerate our spiritual growth dramatically. And I've seen that in myself and also in my clients. Because of all the above-mentioned reasons, tachyon energy or tachyon particles has a very positive effect on our health and well-being. Now, some terms you'll be hearing more and more as time goes by. They are superluminal. That just means they move faster than the speed of light. And they are subatomic, so that they do not actually change the chemical composition. If you test the matter that's tachyonized, you will sense no change in the matter whatsoever. They infuse matter with spiritual light, such as from our galactic center. That's the main source of tachyons in our galaxy. We have come across that concept earlier in Tip's presentation, where he speaks about dark energy, dark matter. Now, dark doesn't mean evil or bad. It just means we cannot sense it with the equipment that we have right now. So 90% of the universe is insensitive to our equipment. And tachyons, I believe, represent a large part of that. Tip mentioned about matter coming in spectra, or in a spectrum. Well, tachyons are part of that spectrum. Part of the major wave of advancements leading to the transformation of our experience, the long-awaited golden age, involves this type of technology. What I have is a healing chamber, but it can be used for other purposes as well. Many of you remember in the Star Trek series, the actual engine that they use, it's not an engine, but the drive they use was a tachyon drive. So this allowed them to go at superluminal speeds, and they were able to traverse the universe in a matter of seconds. Now, there is a concept which, historically has played an important part and explains why we don't have an experience, generally speaking, of this particular form of energy. And that is the quarantine. I've been a student of Edgar Cayce for a long time, for many, many decades. And one important aspect of the Atlantean experience was the takeover by the Sons of Bel. These were a very negative group of entities, mostly male, unfortunately. That's why they're called the Sons of Bel, or Baal. And they hijacked the Atlantean experiment. They came here about 26,000 years ago. They finally wrecked the place about 12,000 years ago, 10,000 BC. One name that you'll hear more and more about is Arnold Sonnenfeld. He is a German scientist. He first theorized these particles. He didn't call them tachyons, but he and Einstein developed their superluminal laws of physics. Dr. Fred Bell, he is the grandson of Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone. He was the first that actually founded a group that developed tachyons as a form of healing therapy. He was a very well-respected astrophysicist who worked on some of the dark government projects and became so disgusted with the misuse of his work that he abandoned his research into weapons and went off to India to hopefully become a guru. He eventually came back to this country and decided he would use his knowledge and experience in a healing form. So he founded his own group called the Pleiadean group. I have no connection with this group, but that's the one he started in the 1980s, and his daughter now runs the organization. He died, unfortunately, in 2011. There are many, many YouTube videos, and he wrote 3 excellent books that are still, for me, the primer books on tachyons, and his connection with the Pleiades. He was a contactee, and that's where he got many of the ideas for his healing technologies. So more advanced technology has been gifted to us through such Pleiadian contactees. Tachyonization is a process, as I mentioned earlier, that infuses physical matter with increased quantity of tachyons and permanently changes the quantum properties of atomic nuclei. Tachyons can be used as a form of propulsion. That is how these interstellar beings come here. They don't come here using rocketry. They use tachyons to keep themselves very young. And if you were to meet a Pleiadian, you would think they would be between 25 and 30 years of age. Sometimes they're hundreds of years old. So, okay, it's important to realize that the chemical composition does not change because this has only positive effects. So it's not like when you take a drug or some form of surgical procedure. There's always downsides. So the doctor will always explain the benefits and also potential adverse effects. So it decreases entropy, increases syntropy, and, as I said before, potentially reverse the aging process and strengthen the immune system. Also, the potential for tachyons is to actually affect the timeline. I mentioned earlier that our experience our experience of time is unidirectional. It goes from past, present to future. But what if time could go sideways? What if time could go backwards? How would you do that? You would use tachyons to do that because they move faster than the speed of light. Einstein described that we live not just in a three-dimensional realm, but we live in a time-space continuum. So we actually live in a four-dimensional system. What if time was three-dimensional? What if there was an up and a down and a forward and a backward to time? And Einstein really thought a lot about that and developed a lot of the physics related to that. Tachyons are completely safe. Like I said, they have no detrimental effect at all. They come from a realm where we come from ourselves anyway. As I say, the Pleiadians and other cosmic civilizations use tachyons as their basic source of energy, as hyperdrive for spaceships by creating wormholes. Wormholes is a common or garden expression, but the actual technical description is Einstein-Rosenberg bridges. That sounds a little more like you need a PhD to say that. So anyway, but they're wormholes, and you've seen depictions of those in television and movies where it seems like the craft is sucked through a vortex and goes through time and space at fantastic speeds, and that's how they do it. They also use it, we use electronics for information transmission. We can never intercept their communications because they don't use electronics, they use tachyons. They also keep themselves young by having their own healing chambers on their ships. So they keep themselves at 25, 30 years of age indefinitely. And they only move on, they only die when they finish their sole purpose, and they know when it's time to move on. Tachyons enter our solar system together with cosmic rays. They come from interstellar space. In our galaxy, they come from galactic center. And so they carry the tachyons with them. The problem is there's a quarantine, and so the tachyons can't get to the surface of the planet. Once you go below, near Earth orbit, there are no tachyons. They can only reach the surface, the tachyons, through hyperdimensional wormholes. And these are created via crystals. Duh. Everybody uses crystals. Pleiadians use them too. Syrians use them. All of them use crystals. But the ones that are used in terms of their healing capabilities have to have wormholes that draw the tachyons through chambers such as I have that use combinations of crystals, sacred geometry, and noble metals. There's a lot of copper and gold in the chamber that I possess. These wormholes are created in the crystals by taking them into near-Earth orbit. That's what NEO means. This chamber was designed through a contactee, a Pleiadian contactee. What the tachyon energy can do is harmonize the gravitic, the electromagnetic, and weak nuclear fields. It does not affect the strong nuclear fields. That's what creates radioactivity, and by and large, that has to be avoided. It's a very primitive technology, according to the Pleiadians. We're supposed to evolve beyond nuclear energy quickly before we become seduced by it. It also protects against electrosmog. Each session lasts 20 minutes, and the positive effects are irreversible because, as I say, they don't have any discernible side effects. I also use, together with the chamber, what's called a Cintamani stone. I pronounce it Cintamani, as some people pronounce it Cintamani. I think it sounds Italian to me, so I pronounce it with the C. And I have it here. It's a moldavite crystal. It's a meteorite. Normally, moldavites are dark green in color. This is black because it actually came through Earth's atmosphere. About 1 million years ago, a planet exploded in the Sirius star system, and Earth was showered with many of these meteorites. They're a mixture of silicon dioxide and aluminium dioxide, just like any other moldavite. These are very potent because they are inherently tachyonized. So this cannot be programmed. It only emits tachyons. I also use a chakra set of tachyonized beads, and I place these over the chakra centers, and they help to resonate and clear out negative energies from the energy bodies such as the etheric, the astral, the mental, and the causal. I also have a galactic Merkaba activator. This uses the energy directly from the galactic center. There's, again, wormhole technology involved in this, and it's focused through the heart chakra. Then through a silver flower of life pattern, connecting via a wormhole, creating a stargate, so you're actually directly in contact with galactic center. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry. I do not have my chamber. It takes up a whole room, so it doesn't transport very easily. So I use the other. I use a Chintamani as well as the chakra set and the Merkaba activator. I've had people that drove. I had 2 French Canadians that drove from Quebec. I live in Virginia. No, they did it in one day. I was amazed. Pardon me? Oh, each session costs $60. It's $60. I recommend 3 to 5. That usually will tachyonize you. So it's not really that expensive in the long term. 2 sessions maximum per day. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. My website. And really, that's about it. I wanted to make it in 30 minutes. I made it in 25. So here we go. That's it.
Thank you.